Einstein finished what the caveman started. From the early cave dwellers' primitive art to the now iconic E equals mc squared, from what can be seen to what can be dreamed, we glimpse our potential. E equals mc squared is the world's most famous equation. Few people understand it, but it doesn't matter, because through a stroke of serendipity, it has come to represent the power of imagination. And imagination is the premise of all art. If you can imagine it, then you can make it real. Now, Albert Einstein was a great scientist, but was he also a great artist? Take two, the big picture. Social injustice, racial prejudice, economic inequality, political corruption, global warming, fading dreams. Reality is broken, and it threatens the future. Government, religion, and commerce can't change the world fast enough, if at all. But what if there was a way to win the hearts and minds of everyone and harness the power of our diversity to solve all our problems? There is, and I'm going to show you how in this video. I'm author Andy Brown, and you're watching The Mindset of Greatness. These lessons are reprogramming your subconscious mind through a series of awarenesses called the mysteries of life. And all you have to do is watch. Our next mystery of life is art. You knew it all along, and you put up with me. That's good. Let's unpack it. There are three characteristics shared by all art. First, we must identify with it. Art is personal. Second, art adds value to our life, often in the form of pleasure. And third, art helps us to see ourselves as interconnected individuals. And there is great power and opportunity in connecting with the hearts and minds of others, as you will see. Art today is often different from what was considered to be art in the past. So let's take a quick tour of Western art, and then we'll define what it is. The first art, the cave paintings, appear in the archaeological record about 50,000 years ago in the Paleolithic era. Humans live in small societies and gather plants, hunt, fish, and scavenge. Life is simple but perilous. Yet the desire to record important events in life through art is present in these early human societies, and it presages the central role of imagination in the development of civilization. Humans accomplish a lot in the next 50,000 years. We leave the caves, cities flourish, we develop agriculture and art. Fast forward to the Renaissance, the period in Europe from the 14th to the 17th centuries. It's an age of new wealth creation and a flowering of Western civilization and the arts, but also a rebellion against the church-dominated society of what art is supposed to look like. Recognized categories of art are limited and include music, singing, dancing, theater, writing, poetry, painting, drawing, sculpture, pottery, architecture, a few more. Many crafts which combine beauty and utility achieve art status. These include swords and military paraphernalia, musical instruments, and other objects of significance. Fast forward to the present day. Art is no longer just the stuff in stuffy art books, and the expression of beauty is no longer the predominant view. Technology revolutionizes art. We have cinema, photography, computer games, online gaming, body art. It can be argued that art today is excellence of human endeavor, and even includes food. Now let's define art. First, art is something tangible, a product infused with the talents and skills of the practitioner, the artist, which produces an interactive experience combining extraordinary sensory, emotional, and/or intellectual qualities. Art can also be a mindfulness or heightened awareness in the development of ideas and concepts, and sometimes is referred to as inspiration. Art must be original, otherwise it is a fake or a copy or a derivative. All rights reserved. For the artist, art is a primacy. This means they place the need to know themselves first like a line of computer code, and then interpret all following actions through that intimate lens. The artist will always find a shock of beauty or meaning, even in the commonplace. It's about the joy of the journey. Artists are some of the hardest working people I know because they must continually strive for originality. Art is very personal. The art that one person loves may not be loved by another. People can learn to appreciate various art forms, and some will bond deeply with an art form without the need of formal training. So whatever your definition of art is, I'm not going to try to change it. I'm going to expand it. I can hear some of you saying, all this about art, why should I care? Because art is an engine to all things. Everything we see and touch and hear and taste, everything we make has some art in it, or at least it could, and maybe it should. As I mentioned, the three characteristics of art, identity, value, and connection, give it enormous power. How much power are we talking about? Buckle up and check out these examples. Pablo Picasso's Nude, Green Leaves and Bust, a painting created in the span of a single day, sold for the paltry, not poultry, sum of $106.5 million. And that's far from the highest price paid for a painting to date. Money is one measure of power. Music provides some interesting examples. Just like in the movies, music is the soundtrack to our lives, intertwined with our emotions and memories, our chronology. Many of you are aware of the perks and privileges your favorite musical artists enjoy. That's power. The music of the great Italian composer Giuseppe Verdi is cited as a force for the unification of the warring states into the single state of the Kingdom of Italy, the precursor to modern Italy, in the late 19th century. That's power. Another musical titan, the 19th century German composer Richard Wagner, created towering scores and librettos that continue to reward opera goers today. When Wagner debuted his operas at his opera house in Bayreuth, Germany, about 200 miles from the emperor's residence in Berlin, both the Emperor Wilhelm I and his statesman Otto von Bismarck traveled to Wagner for the debuts. This is important because, first, 200 miles was a great distance to travel by horse-drawn coach back then, and it still is. Second, and more significantly, this was a reversal of the roles of monarch and patron for which there is no parallel in the history of royal privilege. That's real power. Another measure of greatness from our pop culture today is that Wagner's music is used as cartoon music. And at the risk of being vulgar, Wagner's musical climax in the opera Tannhäuser is regarded by many as the greatest climax in the history of men. Check it out. Thank you, Ron. But with so many art forms, I'm going to restrict my comments to the importance of art in general. Art is everywhere. Most things we make have a component of art in it. Everything done well that is not menial or routine or dictated by a manual or procedure contains some art. Art has the ability to inspire us like few things can. It challenges us to push the boundaries of what is possible and what we are capable of doing and do our best work. Artists and geniuses are a lot alike. Not all geniuses are artists, but all artists find pleasure in the workings of their mind, and they noodle it out through their art. Even science contains some art. Scientific investigation must often go beyond standard theories and conventional wisdom and embrace the unique vision of the scientist. That vision is the product of training plus the insights and intuition that come with experience. That vision, which is inextricable, cannot be removed, is art. Art connects us. Art can show us how to experience every emotion that we are capable of feeling. Art is a common denominator, and by helping us to see how we are alike, it helps us to overcome our differences. Have you heard the story about purple people? No? What about green people? Same story. Green people have hated purple people for as long as anyone can remember. But when a purple person did something wonderful, green people couldn't hate purple people anymore. True story. Ta-da. An analogy close to the heart of many is ice cream. People are like flavors of ice cream. Maybe you like one flavor, but don't hate on all the rest. Did it work? Art is an agent for change. Art uses our senses to open us up to new experiences and possibilities. Art challenges the status quo by developing insights into the creative process, causing us to have original thoughts and work together to move civilization forward. Art energizes. Artists that create a work often say their creation takes on a personality of its own and seems to lead instead of being led. And we have this in common. Aristotle, Socrates, Confucius, Lao Tzu, Murasaki Shikibu, Galileo, Copernicus, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Isaac Newton, Nietzsche, Edison, Einstein, FDR, Churchill, Hirohito, Gandhi, Marilyn Monroe, Nelson Mandela, John Lennon, Muhammad Ali, Dr. King, Sidney Poitier, Beyonce, Barack Obama, Charlie Chaplin, Walt Disney. I could go on. These are people who tried to do something and succeeded. And because they succeeded, we know their names. And what we have in common with them is DNA. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Science defines a race as having organs and structures of similar size, function, stamina, and performance. Time and distance may separate us, but we are all related. Now I'm going to summarize the significance of art in a single statement. Art inspires us and shows us that we are alike, one race, the human race, helping us to celebrate our differences, or if you like, helping us to overcome our differences. Let's start behaving like what we have in common really does matter. I have a confession to make. I'm in love with crazy people, the ones that are crazy in love with life. And when you know what they know, it'll make you a little crazy too. Your quick work assignment, if you choose to do it, will introduce you to these people and help you find an art form to learn from and love. There are 3 exercises. Each will improve your observational skills. But you only have to do one. More is better, and practice makes improvement. For exercise 1, go online and research one or more artists or art forms that interest you. Excellence is on display 24/7 on the internet. Learn the language of the art form, its history and traditions, its greatest practitioners, their trials and triumphs and failures. You know the drill. There's an art form for you out there. Having a blank sheet of paper in front of me has always been therapeutic. I don't mean the proverbial blank sheet of unlimited opportunity. I mean an actual sheet of paper, and preferably art paper. Have you looked closely at quality art paper? It's a beautiful product and made for specific art media. For exercise 2, go to an art store that stocks different art papers sold by the sheet and buy several different papers. Also, ink, pens, pencils, paints, brushes, whatever you can afford, and bring it home and set it aside. Then get up early one morning when your mind is rested and throw up all your ideas on the paper. Then clean up the mess and do it again. Experiment. Touch it. Wet it. Paint it. Do not fear it. Do not be delicate with it. Do not value it for what it costs. It's a tool and a medium for creation and expression. Let the materials participate in the process. Chopsticks. That's right. Chopsticks came after the fork. They are a cultural development in response to the need to conserve fuel because food cooks more quickly when cut into small pieces. Chopsticks are both efficient and useful. With just a little practice, you can pick up a single grain of rice or something even smaller. For exercise 3, go online and research chopsticks. Chopsticks differ in design, material, and size across the different Asian cultures. Then buy a few, get your hands on a few pair, and become proficient in using them. It's incredibly easy, and you can find how-to videos online. A few tips. Keep one stationary and move the other toward it. I don't have a pair to demonstrate, but one doesn't move. Keep the points even. It increases their functionality greatly. And it's okay to stab your food. Keep a fork and spoon nearby so you don't get frustrated. Why do this? Because using chopsticks requires the continual assessment of the physical characteristics of the food we eat. The shape, size, balance. Will it stick together? Can it be grabbed with pinchers or supported underneath like a bridge? It's a gravity-defying exercise which invokes our cognitive abilities and makes us more observant. And you'll learn to get the food in your mouth too. One more thing, a little-known benefit. Chopsticks limit the amount of food we can pick up, so it takes longer to eat a meal. This allows feelings of satiety to develop and reduces overeating. Now you know. That's your assignment. I'm ordering takeout. We have all known people who believe in their heart of hearts that they were somehow disadvantaged because the bar was set too high, or the deck was stacked against them, or they faced obstacles and hardships that the rest of us didn't. And all too often, their claims of being disadvantaged proved to be true, because the obstacles and hardships they faced were self-inflicted. The most important bar that each of us must clear is the belief in yourself. In our next video, I present the key factor that makes it possible to change your mindset from that of a non-believer to a believer, and in other significant ways too. That key factor is permission. Learning to give yourself permission to believe, permission to change, and permission to grow. This is a black swan moment for education. Black swans are a metaphor for the seemingly impossible, specifically events that challenge perceived wisdom and reshape the world. So join me next time when we explore belief before proof, a simple technique to train your mind to overcome any obstacle so you can become a more original, a more empowered, a more delightful version of yourself. I'm author Andy Brown, and this is The Mindset of Greatness. So until next time, in the name of the artist, the sun, and the unholy joke, find someone to inspire you and hold on tight. This video is dedicated to my Georgia, my wonderful number 3 and friend. Copyright 2017, Puzzleman Publications, LLC.